What are the best items in the worst bundles is a question that I answered in a previous video. And that video was supposed to be a love note to items that were really special from collections that we didn't really care about. And today we're sending some hate mail to the items that had no right being as bad as they were when they came from the collections that they came from. I'm Justin, and these are the best collections with the worst items on Valorant. We're starting this one straight away with Ion 1.0, the Ion Bike Seat. Now that Valorant has been out for multiple years, it is safe to say that 2020 was one of the golden years for Valorant. And on November 11th of 2020, we got the Ion 1.0 collection, a premium edition skin set starting at 7,100 VP with 8 items in total, which Sean Burrito, who oversees all the skins on Valorant, would say, "We aim to have a very sleek, clean, classic sci-fi weapon." And with Ion 1.0, that completely hits the nail on the head of what that collection was. All of the Ion 1.0 items are intricate yet simple, fun, have great kill banners, has a really satisfying finisher, and just above all else is clean and feels good to use. Except for one item, the Ion Bike Seat. Unofficially number 1 on this list that is in no particular order, the Ion Claw, or Bike Seat if you will, might just be one of the worst melee items in all of Valorant. And there's just so many positive things to say about every other item in the Ion 1.0 set. No matter what skin you're using from Ion 1.0, it really does feel like aimbot, and if it's not aimbot, it's at least satisfying to use. And despite this, they somehow managed to mess up the melee by giving us a claw melee, which just ultimately does not even look like a claw. And trust me, I know that claw melees are not that popular on this game, and that is not why this item is bad. This has 1 upgrade in total, and here is level 1 versus level 2. The difference is really not even there. This is hardly a claw, not even a sword, and in all the ways that all of the other Ion stuff is really sleek and clean and just feels great to use, the Ion Claw just has none of it. This item's not fun to swing, it's not fun to brandish, and next time you're using any of your other Ion stuff that's actually really fun to use, just know that any Battle Pass melee you have is probably better than the Ion Claw. But at least a few years later, they gave us Ion 2.0 with the Ion Karambit. Neptune, the anchor melee. In the long-term scheme of Valorant, these skins that they have added to the game have always stayed relatively serious. Players old and new aren't going to pick up the Ion Vandal and think, wow, this is a silly item, because it's an aesthetically pleasing item with a serious vibe to it. And in the case of Neptune, it's one of the only collections in all of Valorant that has more of a joke and fun vibe to it. All of the skins in this collection are fish tank skins. And when this was conceptualized, their original idea was to have the bullets be goldfish. That is ridiculous. And as silly as the Neptune collection really is, this collection is really no joke. Valorant players often talk about skins that give you aimbot, and in the conversation, every single time you will see the Neptune Vandal there. This is easily a community favorite, and this doesn't even have a finisher. Releasing on May 25th, 2022, the Neptune collection is a 7100 VP Premium Edition skin set. And one of the 6 items included in the Neptune collection is the Neptune Anchor. That's right, an anchor. Having the axe animations and 1 upgrade which gives you the water swooshing around it, the Neptune Anchor is a bit of an unfunny joke. When we look at the overall positives of the Neptune collection with the great kill banner and sound effects, and plus the attention to detail on top of having 2 different variants being black and white, alongside the very fun fact that you're just holding a fish tank in your hands, the Neptune Anchor falls really short and kind of doesn't fit in with this stuff. The biggest downside of the Neptune Anchor is the fact that it is just so big because it's an anchor, and it's definitely a bit screen obscuring when you have it out. And while it is shocking and funny that you're using an anchor as a melee weapon, it still just feels really out of place when you compare it to the rest of the Neptune set. It's missing all of the fun elements that the Neptune set has, like the moving fish on the inside of the guns. And while the Neptune collection may be a joke told in the best way possible, giving us some really great items, the anchor is just a little bit dead next to all of the life that exists with everything else in the Neptune collection. The answer is right in front of our faces. The collection is already supposed to be funny. The melee should have been a fish, like the holy mackerel from TF2. But I suppose we'll see what happens with Neptune 2.0. The Zedd Spectrum bundle, the waveform melee. You know how in the 2020s, how every video game that you play has collaborations that just don't even make sense anymore? Well, on little old Valorant, on September 8th, 2021, we got our first ever and only collaboration to date with the Zedd Spectrum bundle. Up until that point being the most expensive collection in the entire game at 10,700 VP, being priced just a little bit more than Elder Flame. And in Spectrum, there were 9 items in total, 2 buddies, a card, a spray, and 5 skins. Each of them having 3 upgradable variants, and being the first ever skin collection in the game to play music, which would be the first of many. Zedd Spectrum was a special collection for a lot of reasons. It has a great kill banner, it has really cool variants, the base variant itself is really cool, it has a great finisher, the buddies are good, and even the spray plays music. This collection could do everything except for give us a good melee. While this is an insanely great collection, it is a 4 out of 5, and that one alone is just the melee from this set. The melee included with Zedd Spectrum is the waveform melee. The definition of waveform is a curve showing the shape of a wave at any given time. And that's exactly what the item is. It's essentially a wand that when fully upgraded will show the waveform of the song that it plays. This is a terrible melee, and it's for 3 letters and 1 word. TSA wand. In a game like Valorant with knives, swords, clubs, fans that have crazy animations, being a developer and having your only collaboration on the entire game's melee be a TSA wand is just criminal. This item has simply always been ridiculous. It has the axe animations. This has 1 upgrade plus 3 additional variants like everything else, and even the variants don't help this out whatsoever. Yeah, it's cool, you get to brandish this and play the music, but so do all the other items. And most importantly of all, how is this even a melee item? What, you're gonna hit somebody with your TSA wand? Well, do what you have to do if I'm gonna be selected for this random screening. And to really drive home the fact that this is just a TSA wand, here it is on level 1. If you're going to charge $100 for a collection, the melee is one of the most important parts to get right. Champions 2023, the kunai. Now, I'm aware that this is a bit of a low-hanging fruit because this collection only has 5 items and 2 of them are the Champions Vandal and the Champions Kunai. However, the Champions 2023 Melee needs to be on this list because they seemingly spent more time animating the storefront page for it than they actually did giving the Kunai animations. We'll get into that, but first we have to talk about the Champions 2023 bundle as a whole and the positives of it. Coming out on August 4th, 2023, the Champions bundle cost 6,167 VP with a total of 5 items. And this was the 3rd installment of the Champion skins, providing us with a second Champions Vandal. And there's quite the argument to be made that this Vandal is better than the first Champions Vandal that they ever released. Where the first Champions Vandal was just a reskin of the default Vandal, this new Champions Vandal from 2023 provided us with an entirely new shape. And this time around, they really wanted to capture the essence of the stage of what it meant to play on VCT. And I would say that they hit this out of the park. With the entirely new shape of the Vandal, they were able to add in textures of an LED screen, which really gave you the feel like you were holding a piece of the VCT stage. And like all the other Champions bundles, this has a Champions Aura if you're the top frag in the game, plays music when you brandish it, and where the first Vandal went wrong, having a finisher that you truly never got to see, this time around they had given us the best finisher arguably out of all 3 of the Champions collections, which would set you in the center of the VCT stage as if you had just won the big one. And here's where it all goes wrong. When the Champions 2023 bundle initially leaked and then finally dropped, everybody was really waiting and hoping that this would have new animations for the kunai. With that in mind, what does the billion-dollar corporation Riot do for their most special yearly collection that they release? Not a damn thing! For Riot's biggest event of the year, they gave the Champions kunai default knife animations. With an event as special as VCT, this was an opportunity to add in a kunai with actual animations. Where before the only kunai in the game was the Jet kunai from the Valorant Go Volume 1 set, from that point on, people had been aching for a kunai that had real animations that were unique to that item. And we just sadly did not get it with Champions 2023, and it made the entire bundle a bit underwhelming. Fast forward to April 30th, 2024, and we finally get the Miss Bloom kunai, which has the animations that we have been asking for, but I think it's a little bit too late. While Miss Bloom is a really cool collection, it is just another random bundle when it's compared to the Champions bundle. And in terms of what the community cares about and what's more meaningful to us as players, the Champions bundle is way more important than Miss Bloom could ever hope to be. And it just might be a good thing that the Champions kunai is never coming back. What could have been? Singularity, the Singularity knife. When I would ask the question, what really good bundles have really bad items in them, the Singularity knife always came up, but something else also came up as well, and that was generally default knives. In the very soon future, we are going to do an entire video on the overall death of the default knife. For now, on October 13th, 2020, an exclusive edition skin set called the Singularity Bundle came out for 8,700 VP. This had 8 items in total, 3 peripheral items with a buddy card and a spray. Singularity is one of the older collections in Valorant. And when you look at this collection, it's black holes in space meets crystals, with the signature look being negative space, alongside that signature finisher with the black hole that sucks your opponents away. And since this bundle is so old, at the time, this was all really groundbreaking stuff. This was one of the crazier skin sets that existed at all in 2020. It has all of the elements of all of the other bundles that we've talked about in this video so far. Kill banner, sounds, animations, finishers, variants. However, this collection suffers from what a lot of collections at this time period suffer from, and that is that it did not age well. And even back when Singularity first dropped, people were really upset that the knife was just a reskin of the default, essentially. And for the people who didn't care about it back then, today they are definitely not a fan of the knife because there is so much different animations that exist currently. All of this can also be said about other skins that dropped in 2020 as well, like the Primax for instance. Right now on Valorant, when you queue into a game, you are almost guaranteed to see a Prime Vandal or a Prime Classic. But these days, arguably, most Battle Pass's melees are better than the Primax. And I really think that there is truth to the sentiment that the Singularity melee was bad even on day one. But all this time later, I feel that the age is what has really gotten this item to be so terrible. If you were a casual player and you bought the Singularity set, even if you were to just play semi-frequently, I could see people wanting to use Battle Pass melees or just outright buying another one entirely. However, what skins did I miss? What are some of the best bundles that, in your opinion, have the worst skins? Leave a comment down below. Every other channel that you watch has a team of paid editors that makes all of their content for them, and I do everything myself, and I am only asking you to simply like the video and subscribe if you did enjoy it. As always, I'm Justin, and you're not. I'll see you in the next one.